In case you missed it, one of the largest electronic stores in the world is doing away with physical media, and it's making a lot of people question if this is a good thing or a bad thing. For one, it cuts down on a lot of wasted materials, so that should be a positive, but on the other hand, you no longer have control of the items you purchased. This topic has been such a hot button issue that even Hollywood superstar director Christopher Nolan has been making the rounds to defend physical media.
If you buy a 4K UHD, you buy a Blu-ray, it's on your shelf, it's yours. That's never really the case with any form of digital distribution. You're relying on the continued health of the supplier, the company who's supplying it,
Now, if you're just taking a peek around my studio room here, you might automatically assume that I'm team physical media, right? Well, you'd be wrong. Until recently. The reason I love digital media is because of the convenience factor. It's right there on my phone, computer, or gaming console. No need to go to the store because I can buy everything online. And although I love everything in this room, I would be lying to you if I say it didn't take up a lot of space. So digital media just seemed like the right thing for me, and I never really questioned the idea of losing it until it happened. You see, over the holidays, I decided to buy myself some manga, of the cultured variety. And well, if you enjoy yourself a bit of culture, you probably know of a website called Faku. Well, the cool thing about Faku is that you can buy products that are digital or digital plus physical. So I decided to go the physical route because, believe it or not, the reason why I love buying books physically is because I like to study them. Sure, bro, study them. As someone who plans to write comics and mangas, or anything that tickles my fancy, I want to know how a scene in a book plays out with every page turn. You don't always get that feeling with digital because sometimes you're swiping up and down instead of left and right. But back to the story. After I made my purchase, I thought everything was going well until I noticed a few days later that they charged me 4 times. No biggie, I'll just reach out to Faku. No answer. Again, no biggie, I got an automated response that said they would hit me up in 3 days, so I just waited and no answer. It's at this point I'm getting a little freaked out, so I decide to call my bank and dispute the charges. Turns out the company was away on vacation, and that automated email I was getting was supposed to tell me that. Anyways, they credit my account and everything is good until a few days later when I notice all my content is gone. So I have to contact Faku again, and it turns out those disputes I had put in earlier came back as fraud, so they banned my account. In an instant, I lost all the content I purchased. I do want to point out that Faku has been great with customer service. They have promised that they are going to reinstate my account. We just need to make sure these claims clear first. And so yeah, this thing should have a happy ending just like my books. But I'm not gonna lie, the realization of being able to lose all of my digital content like that is still a very real feeling and has made me question my stance on digital media. Some people on this channel may already know this, but for those that don't, I run a Batman podcast, and on multiple occasions we've had the discussion of if it's time to kill floppy comics in favor of digital ones. I think the manga approach is pretty great. If you want to read Shonen Jump manga, you can pay $2.99 a month for an app and you get all the new chapters. Then when there's enough chapters, they get made into physical volumes that you can easily put on your shelf. Unfortunately, for a lot of my digital comic fans right now, they're extremely pissed if they use the app Comixology to buy their merchandise. Because at the end of 2023, there was an announcement made that Comixology was going to merge into the Kindle app. I personally don't use either of these apps, but from what I've heard, the Kindle app sucks. So digital comics fans are going to have a worse experience enjoying the merchandise they already paid for. This goes back to what Nolan said at the start of the video. You don't have control over what these big companies do with your media. I should also point out this could also happen with another Amazon product, Audible. If Amazon for whatever reason decided to get out of the audiobook game and they just shut down Audible, you would lose all of your content because from my knowledge, there is no way to download those audiobooks. Audio files, you can use the app, but if the app goes down, you're screwed. I do want to shout out 2 videos that came out recently that talked about this subject in interesting ways. The first one being from Moist Critical, who mentioned how in Steam's TOS, they have the option to ban your account and you lose all of your games. As someone who uses Steam and has put in a decent amount of money into it, I have to say that is pretty insane to me. But another thing I found interesting in Moist Critical's video is he talks about censorship in digital media and gives the example about how if you wanted to watch the earlier seasons of SpongeBob, you're not going to get the episode about the panty raid.
Panty raid?
Because it's just been removed from all streaming services. So if you want to watch it, you're going to have to find it uploaded somewhere else, or you're gonna need the physical media. But when he said that, it made me think if I own anything that is not gonna be in the digital sphere and that I have to have a physical copy for, and I came across both of these things right here. I did a quick search to see if I could find the Ultimate version anywhere streaming, and everything that I came across was just the theatrical release. So if you want to watch this ultimate cut of Watchmen, you're gonna have to buy the physical version, and the last time I checked, this thing was going for like over 150 bucks. And as for these Dragon Ball Z DVDs, there's an option on here to be able to listen to the dubbed version of the show with the Japanese music or the American music. And I think that's a pretty cool feature, and I don't know if I've ever seen that on streaming services. And I also bring that up because I've heard some Dragon Ball Z fans out there be like, I rewatched Dragon Ball Z recently, and it just doesn't hit the same. You're a liar, and you probably watched the wrong version. You probably grew up on the American version with the American music, and then your ass watched the dubbed version with the Japanese music. It doesn't hit the same. Rant over. The other video I want to shout out is from Donkey, who talked about how ridiculous it is to watch a TV show on streaming services nowadays. I related to this Donkey video so much because this happened to me last year. I had just got back into The Walking Dead by watching it on Netflix, and once I finished that, I wanted to watch Fear the Walking Dead, but that was only on Hulu. Well, I made it to season 6 and the show just disappeared from the site. So logically, you'd think that you would just go watch the show on its home network, AMC, right? Nope. They only had the latest episode or season to watch. And I'm not talking about the free AMC app, I'm talking about the paid version. AMC didn't have their own content on their own paid service. The only way I could watch the show was to buy every episode individually, that wasn't gonna happen, or pirate the damn show. Those were the only two options. Now, I know a lot of people watching this were probably thinking just pirate it, and you know, teenage LimeWire using Juice would agree with you. But old fart Juice over here wants to work in these industries that are comics, manga, movies, and even gaming. So if I have the money to support the industry I want to be in, I'm going to do that, because if we don't do that, then these industries we love are going to die. But I think going forward, I'm going to be a little bit more cautious about how I support that industry. Oh, before I go, can we all just agree that renting digital media prices are fucking dumb? Why would it cost me $15 to rent and $20 to own? How does that make any sense? It's almost as dumb as digital comics costing the same price as physical comics. Anyways, let me know your favorite piece of physical media in the comments, and as always, don't forget your daily dose of juice.